Hey gang, what's up? Welcome back here to another edition of Intuitive Angling, and much appreciated you guys checking the video out and spending a little bit of time with me here. And just out in the tackle room today, actually getting ready, got an on the water lesson. Well, it's actually today. I'm filming this video last night, but today on Table Rock Lake, getting ready for that. And I wanted to talk about the best colors of lures for largemouth bass. Now, if this video does okay or goes all right, I'm going to do the best colors for largemouth, spotted bass, and smallmouth. But we're going to start out with largemouth today. So real quick before we get started, guys, speaking of on the water lessons, anybody out there interested in booking one with me, just shoot me a private message on my Facebook page, Randy Blockett Professional Angler. And also my buddy that guides up at Lake of the Ozarks has been hammering up there lately on jerkbait. So anybody interested in booking a good jerkbait trip up there, I can give you his information too if you shoot me a private message. Much appreciated with that. Okay guys, colors, man. Colors are everybody's favorite thing because a lot of people think that that colors sometimes are everything. They think everybody's got a secret color or a favorite color. And I'm sort of torn a little bit in between. I have got certain colors that I know make all the difference in the world under certain situations. Now, that's a combination of confidence that it breeds and also just the reality that the fish, that sometimes they key into certain colors. But more often than not, I think a lot of people sort of put too much emphasis in colors. So what I want to do is give you guys sort of just a foundational approach for some good colors for largemouth bass. And it's pretty simple, really. And a lot of it is based, the colors that are best for largemouth, a lot of times are based upon the water visibility and, sunlight conditions or light intensity, that type of stuff. So basically I'm going to cover 3 colors today that cover almost anything, any type of bass fishing situation for hard baits. Now we're talking about hard baits today. We're not talking about soft baits like worms and jigs. So we'll get into it. So the first color, guys, I want to get into is a chartreuse side black back. This is the Megabass S crank here. That's the examples I'm giving today. But guys, a chartreuse colored crankbait or any lure like that that's hard with a dark back on it. Now the backs can be blue, they can be black, they can be brown, different colors, but just some type of a bright chartreuse sided lure is a really good lure for bass. Now, the times that this works good, guys, is in low light conditions or off colored water. If you got, cloudy, rainy day or early or late in the day or dirty water conditions, like when the water visibility is say under 1.5 feet, it's really hard to beat the chartreuse side because the chartreuse side is the brightest color in crankbaits and fish can pick it up from a long way away. And it's a pretty aggressive color. And one of the things I found out about largemouth bass and chartreuse colors is usually the bigger fish will bite them. It may not be the best color as far as catching the numbers, but a lot of times if there's any big fish in the area, they will hit a chartreuse better than anything. But most of the time you're dealing with conditions that have some type of a limited water visibility, whether if that water visibility is created from a low light condition or by dirtier water. Also, chartreuse can be really good under windy conditions there. The next is sort of an opposite from that. It's some type of a shad pattern. Now, shad patterns vary greatly because this is a translucent type of a shad, gizzard shad color, but you've got a ton of different colorations as far as the variations in a shad pattern. You've got, the flat-sided ones, you got some metallic finishes, you got the see-throughs like this. But in general, a shad pattern has some type of a clear white or some type of a pearlescent side on it, made to resemble a shad. Now, the thing about a shad pattern, in my opinion, is my favorite color as far as a lure color for bass, a shad pattern lure, because bass primarily feed on shad. Now, they're opportunistic. They'll bite anything from ducks to frogs to whatever. But most of the time, bass feed on shad or some type of a herring or whatever the primary forage fish are in a lake. And this color of crankbait dictates it specifically. Now, the reason a shad pattern is so versatile is the color pattern of a shad pattern can be adaptive in a lot of different situations because you can use something that has some type of a bright, let me see if I can, you can use something that has some type of a bright shad pattern. Let me pull out like a sexy shad. like something like a sexy shad here that's a bright pearl or white. Now this will stand out in dirty water or low light conditions. And then you got everything up to the more subtle colors, which is the clear, which is better. Bright days, a little bit cleaner water, maybe the wind's not blowing so much. So based upon the environmental conditions, as far as the water clarity, sunlight conditions, and wind, your shad patterns are going to be good, just basically upon the finish that are on the sides of the hard bait, crankbait, jerkbait, or whatever. And the third one, the last one, is perch pattern. Now there is another one, a crawdad pattern, but crawdad patterns to me are sort of limited to springtime. I very seldom have done any good on a crawdad pattern other than in the pre-spawn, this time of year type of a deal. So a perch pattern is a big player for me, because bass in the warmer weather months from about late May into October, they feed heavily on perch. I mean, there's populations of fish that live shallow during the warmer weather months, and bluegills and pumpkin seeds and black perch and all that type of stuff is some of the bigger forage for the bass. So a perch pattern is really good. Now, a perch pattern, it's another pretty versatile crankbait as far as the sunlight and water clarity conditions. I usually use it anytime the water visibility is anywhere between like a foot to 3 foot, and it works good in sun, it works good in clouds. Same deal with the perch pattern. There's different perch patterns. Some are translucent, some are flat finishes like this, some are metallic finishes. So there's the type of finishes that you want to choose is really dependent upon the weather conditions with that. And this is just sort of a foundation. There's no, it's impossible in bass fishing, guys, to say, use this chartreuse side blackback under these conditions and you're going to catch fish. It's not that easy. You sort of have to have a foundation and build upon that, because what happens is everything changes out there. Let's say, for example, you're catching some fish on a chartreuse sided bait, and it's 9 o'clock in the morning and there's some shade coming off the side of a bank, and you're catching them in that shade line off of the bank, and then all of a sudden at noon you lose that shade line and the bright colored sided crankbait doesn't work anymore. Then you may have to go to more of a subtle color. It's experimentation and changes. So if you get into an area where there's some fish in it, and you stop catching fish, just make some bait changes. Go against the grain, sort of experiment, and just try something until it starts working for you. I mean, give it a try for 10 or 15 minutes. If it doesn't work, try a different color. And that's how you experiment. That's how you get on things that work. That's how you figure out what's not working. And that's how you develop new confidence colors, just trying stuff you've never done before. I can't tell you guys how many times that I have been taught stuff by people that don't hardly know anything about fishing, and they don't know any better than not to try a certain color. They may try a color that goes against everything that I just told you, and it works under a specific set of situations. So be open-minded, experiment, and that's going to give you a good head start on that. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll talk later. See you.